our reading lesson, we are going to be talking about, so before we get into digging into my new friend is so fun, I actually want to talk about first the difference between a major and a minor character, okay? The difference between a major and a minor character, because there are differences between the two. Not all of our characters are going to be major characters, and not all of our characters are going to be minor characters. So, our major characters, first let's look at our major characters, and then we'll look at our minor characters. All right, so our major characters. Our major characters are in the book the whole time, okay? If you have a major character, they should be in the book the whole time. Or if you have a series of books like Piggy and Elephant, Elephant and Piggy, they would be in all of the books, okay? So if you have a series, or if you have a thick chapter book, a major character is going to be in the book the whole time, or they're going to be in the whole series. So like the Pigeon books, Pigeon is in all of his Pigeon books. So he would be a major character because he's in all of them. So to be a major character, they have to be in the whole book, if it's a chapter book, or they have to be in multiple of the series, if it's a series or a picture book. So they have to be in the whole book, or all of the series books. Our major characters are also very important to the story. This basically means that the story kind of revolves around that major character. So if that major character wasn't in the book, we wouldn't necessarily have a story to go with it. So that major character, our story revolves around that major character. We wouldn't have a story without that major character. And then the last thing is their actions, words, or thoughts are in the book, okay? So the author uses dialogue, the author uses details to describe that character's actions, words, or thoughts. And they're specifically said in the book. They're specifically said. They're not just mentioned, they are specifically said. Their actions, words, or thoughts are in the book, okay? And remember, that means they are specifically said, okay? They're specifically said. They're not just hinted at. They are specifically said, this is how they feel. Or they use dialogue to tell you how they're feeling, or to hint to you at how they're feeling. All right, so that's a major character. So now let's look at a minor character. So for a minor character can be removed without changing what happens. So a minor character is not necessarily going to be in the book the whole time. Now, they might be in the book the whole time, but if you take them out of the book, if I were to remove them, it's not going to affect the book, okay? The book would still sound or feel the same.
Yeah.
So, Walter, wait until I'm done. Can be removed. Remember what we talked about this morning about unmuting. Can be removed without changing what happens. Okay, so they might be not very important. Okay, all right, and then the last thing is they interact with or affect your major character. So your minor character is going to be somebody that affects the major character, somebody that could cause a problem. So a great example of that is whenever we were reading the redheaded stepbrother, the one where Patricia tries to beat him at everything. So the brother would be considered a minor character because he affects Patricia, our major character. She, right, always wants to beat him. She even ends up getting hurt because she was trying to beat him. And so he plays a big role on how he affects her. So our minor character interacts with or affects the major characters. Okay, so now let's break this down using, okay, now we're going to break it down using Piggy and Gerald, okay? My new friend is so fun, okay? So when you do this, I have some questions that you're going to ask yourself, okay? So I'm going to write it in my reading notebook, okay? You don't have to copy me. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to copy what I'm writing. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to copy what I'm writing. All right, so I am looking at, I'm going to put my title is My New Friend is So Fun. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is decide my major and minor characters. So the first thing I'm going to decide is my major and minor characters. So my major characters are Piggy and Gerald. Okay, so my minor characters, do you think Brian, thumbs up, thumbs down, do you think Brian the Bat, okay, this guy, Brian the Bat, is he a major or minor character? Thumbs up if you think he's major, thumbs down if you think he's minor. Thumbs down if you think he's minor, thumbs up if you think he's major. Awesome, so I have a lot of thumbs down. So Brian would be considered a minor character. The other minor character would be Snake down here, right? he would be considered, I think that's his, hold on, let me make sure that's his name. Yeah, his name's Snake, okay? So Snake down here, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, major character, thumbs down, minor character for Snake. Thumbs up, major character, thumbs down, minor character. Okay, so I have some thumbs up, some thumbs down. So he is a minor character. The reason, hold on, let me explain myself. The reason he is a minor character is because he interacts with or affects the major characters. So if Worm, right? Worm causes a Snake causes a problem. He causes Gerald to freak out about the fact that Piggy might be friends with somebody else. If I took Snake out of the book, Gerald would still be looking for Piggy and would still probably come up with in his own mind that Piggy has found this new friend. But if I were to exchange Snake for somebody else, the story would still go the same way. So Snake is affecting Gerald, right? He comes in, he tells Gerald, have you seen Piggy? Then as Gerald is coming up with all these ideas of what is going on with Piggy and what Piggy and Brian might be doing, all Snake is doing is repeating Gerald and making it worse. He's not actually helping the situation. He's just making it worse. So Snake would be a minor character. He would be a minor character. The other reason he's a minor character is because this is a book series, right? And I said in order to be a major character, you have to be in all of the series. And Snake is not in all of the series. So he would be considered a minor character. Okay, so now what I want to do, Walter, quickly.
But it's kind of like, they're not really minor characters because because if both of them weren't in the story, Piggy would not have a best friend. And they would be separated, so it would be a completely new story.
Yes, but if you go back to what I said, right, about a book series, Elephant and Piggy is considered a book series. For a book series, in order to be a major character at all, point blank period, in order to be a major character, you have to be in every book of the book series. And Snake and Brian are not in every book in the book series. Gerald and Piggy are. So Gerald and Piggy automatically become our main characters. Sealed, locked, not to be messed with or determined by anybody else. They are the major characters. So when you bring other characters in, if they're not in every single book, then they're considered a minor character. Does that make sense? Okay, mute yourself back, okay, so I can't hear your background noise. Okay, so what did the characters say to each other? Okay, so now I kind of want to break down Piggy and Gerald and Brian and Snake, okay? So when Gerald is talking, one of the things that I'm kind of going to say is, because now I want to look at how these characters are affecting each other. So when Gerald is talking, okay, when Gerald is talking, Snake just keeps repeating what Gerald is saying. And we already know, based on our Venn diagram we did, based on our character web, where we picked out Gerald's inside and outside character traits, Gerald is a very nervous and
Really
anxious,
doing the
negative
meeting.
character. So when Gerald is talking, Snake just keeps repeating what Gerald is saying. He's not like Piggy, who kind of calms Gerald down, right? So when Gerald is talking, and Snake keeps repeating what he is saying. So would you say, does Snake affect Gerald in a positive way, thumbs up, or a negative way, thumbs down? Does Snake affect Gerald in a positive way or in a negative way? In a positive way or in a negative way? Okay, I see lots of thumbs down. So I agree. Hold on, Emily. I think that Snake does affect Gerald in a negative way. Okay, Emily, quick. Does it have to do with this?
Yes. Like, another way to say that is, like, he says it so much that he realizes that, and Snake keeps on repeating, he realizes that Piggy and Bat might be having more fun than them, and then Snake gets worried too.
Yes. So exactly right. So Snake, because he keeps repeating what Gerald's saying, it's actually causing more of a realization in Gerald's mind to where Gerald's going, oh my gosh, they could be having more fun. Oh my gosh, he could be having a new best friend. Oh my gosh, now I need to figure out what's going on, right? He's kind of having this realization of, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, okay? So I'm going to say Snake affects Gerald in a negative way, okay? So what about Piggy and Brian? How do Piggy and Brian affect each other? Do they affect each other in a good way or do they affect each other in a bad way? Is it positive or is it negative? Is it positive or is it negative? Okay, I have lots of thumbs up. I have a few thumbs down. Okay, so let me clarify. So Piggy and Brian affect each other in a positive way. The reason they affect each other in a positive way is because when they were together, right, they drew pictures of their best friends. They didn't draw pictures of each other. They drew pictures of their best friends. So then it made them feel good, right? So they affected each other in a positive way because they were thinking about each other. They weren't thinking about, they were thinking about Gerald and Snake. They weren't thinking about each other. So Piggy and Brian affected each other in a positive way. Affect each other in a positive way. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're going to constantly kind of be working on this. Yes, Emily, quickly, and then I'm gonna explain what we're doing.
So, like, since they were affecting each other, does that mean they were still focused on each other, or just Gerald and Snake? Would they be focused on each other too? Basically?
Yes and no. So you could say Gerald and Snake were kind of focused on like themselves because they were thinking about themselves, like they were thinking about how they were going to lose their best friends. and they weren't necessarily thinking about how Piggy and Brian could just be playing or how they could just be having a good time. Instead, they were thinking about the worst, right? Which is why, you know, when we gave Gerald that negative trait of him being very negative and stuff, so he went automatically to that negative thinking, right? He went automatically to that negative thinking. And so that would be something that you would definitely want to make sure whenever you're looking at your books, especially if you're doing chapter books, that's where you really want to make sure that you are like doing that little character map. So even like the one we did on how I had you do that homework on Seesaw, where you drew a character in the middle and then you just put words around it. So, and a lot of you did a really great job on that. So even just doing something really simple like that in your journal when you get to characters is a really great way to help yourself when you're looking at characters, because you want to determine how the character acts, because then that's going to help you with this, okay? Because in 3rd grade, we aren't necessarily so focused on how the character's acting. We're really focused on how our characters are affecting each other, okay? We're really focused on how they're affecting each other. But in order to determine how they're affecting each other, you have to know how they're acting. So we have to know that Gerald is kind of a negative person, and he has a tendency to be a negative person, right? We have to know that. We have to know he's negative, and he has a tendency to be negative. So when another character comes along that's kind of negative, right? 2 negatives, that's not going to be good. They're going to do this, and they're going to cause each other to not fight, but they're going to cause each other to kind of explode, right? Which is exactly what happened. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. For independent reading, I am going to, what I want you to do is we're kind of just going to keep it simple, okay? Because we're going to be working on this kind of throughout the year. We'll be working on looking at how our characters are affecting each other. So get out your reading journal, because I want to make sure that you have this written down, what I want you to do. Okay, get out your reading journal, because I want to make sure you have written down what I want you to do. So you're going to do something kind of similar to what I did, but it's going to be a little bit different, because obviously you may not have as many characters as we did in Elephant and Piggy, or you may have a whole lot more characters. So you're going to write the title. Okay, you're going to write the title, and then the first 2 things I want you to do, and this is kind of the important part that I want you to do, is to determine your major characters and your minor characters. That's what I want you to do first. Determine your major characters and your minor characters. Hey, notice how I left a little space right here? The reason I did that is because some of you, depending on the books you're reading, you may have a lot of characters. So you may need the space to write the names. So make sure you don't like squish it together. You may need the space to write the names. You probably won't have that many that you need 2 lines, but just in case.
What is it written? Is it written M-A-I or M-A-J?
J. Major characters, minor characters. That's what you're going to look at first. Is who are my major characters? Who are my minor characters? That's what you're going to look at first. You're going to look at major versus minor first. Major characters versus minor characters. That's what you're going to look at first. All right. Then, okay, then I want you to ask yourself, okay, or answer the question, what did the characters do with or to each other? Okay, So you can just pick one example. Okay, I'm gonna put a 1 right here. Just give me one example. You don't have to give me a bunch of different examples, because this is more or less gonna be something that would come straight out of your book, okay? So I may say, for my example with my new friend is so much fun, my one example may be, what did the character do with or to, oh, sorry, this is supposed to say characters. What did the characters do with or to each other? I may say, Snake has the tendency to repeat everything Gerald is saying, and it ends up making him more nervous, okay? So I'm just gonna give one example. Snake repeats everything Gerald is saying. So that's my one example. You only gotta give me one example. That's it. Super easy, one example. Then you're gonna answer the question. Did they affect each other in a positive or negative way? Okay, did they affect each other in a positive or negative way? And then I put another 1 because all you gotta do is run sentence. That's it. Or you can even just say positive, negative. So this should be super easy, super simple. Super easy, super simple. So if you are reading, okay, if you are reading a book like My New Friend is So Fun, where there's 4 characters and they all kind of affect each other in a different way, just pick one relationship, okay? So when I was reading, I probably would pick Gerald and Snake, and I would just focus on their relationship. I'm not going to focus on Piggy and Brian necessarily, because I don't think their relationship affected the book as much as Gerald and Snake. So if you have multiple characters, because some of you will have multiple characters, if you have multiple characters that are affecting each other, just pick one. Just pick one. Just pick one relationship. So pick 2 characters.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what book to read, and also yesterday night someone assigned me books to read.
Okay, mute. I'm getting to that. Okay, so I had a lot of requests in my PM class, in Miss O'Donnell's homeroom, to assign books to people, because they were like, you know what, Miss Chandler, with this kind of stuff, we really don't know exactly what we should be reading. And so I assigned a bunch of books to everybody. I assigned them to everybody. I think it was like 3 or 4 books. You do not have to read these books, but these books are good for you to read if you are not sure what you should be reading. So if you get stuck and you're like, well, I can't find major and minor characters, I have no idea what's going on, those are good books that do have this in it that can help you. So I assigned you books, so if you get stuck or if you're unsure, then you know that those books, you can go read them. Also, what it's going to do is once you read that book, it will actually start suggesting books that you can read. Yes, Aaron.
How do you spell Gerald?
Gerald,